And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Orange Blossom Social. I am your humble correspondent, Bobby Randall. Good morning. Good morning to our studio audience. Everybody say good morning to me. Lots of folks here up and early this morning at the Orange Blossom Opry. 42 degrees outside this morning. A little chilly for Florida, but it's a beautiful day out there. It's sunny and but a little chilly. Exciting stuff going on here before I start. And all of our characters are here. Good morning, Apostle. You're there.
I'm here.
The Apostle's there, and Captain Kurt. Fast Eddie, you're here.
I'm here.
And our boss Heather's up there at the controls running. We got a guest later on in the show, folks. Roger Beyers is going to be here with me, and we'll talk about the history of the Orange Blossom Opry and a lot about how this whole thing got started and all of that. Before we go, before we get into everything, I got to tell you, for years I did a radio show, and the radio show was up in Michigan. And most people thought I lived there, but I did the radio show from my house in Nashville in Alabama. And this was back when radio was cool, because now it's not. You can't do anything. Most radio is all corporate radio. Disc jockeys can only say a few things, read some ads, tell you this song. They don't get to do anything. But back then, in the morning show, you had the freedom to do whatever you want and be funny, and people did a lot of things. Well, people I know would make up characters, and they would try to make up all these people and have these made-up characters call in. Well, I didn't have to do that, because I know a bunch of crazy people. And one of the best was this guy named Benny Bunyan. And Monday morning, Benny Bunyan was a musical guy who traveled around the country, and he, his bus broke down, or this or that, or all this stuff that he made up that was absolutely hilarious. And he was one of the best characters on the show, on the morning show, and everybody started thinking he was a real guy and had a real band and all this stuff, but he was awesome. Anyway, Benny Bunyan's sitting right in the front row this morning. Y'all give him a round of applause for being here. So he's awesome. And we go way back, because Gary used to come watch me play music when I was a kid. So we've been riding Harleys together when I was that tall, he said. And we've been riding Harleys together for a long time as well. Anyway, and also a big shout out this morning to my buddy Butch Heath. I talked to him on the way here. He was a guy that was probably responsible for how my whole life got started going in the music business. After I got out of the Army, I had a little band up in Michigan, and he was like the big cat daddy in the local area. Butch Heath was the big guy in kind of central Michigan there. Played all the good shows and opened for all the big country music people. When I was a kid, he had all the great guitars and the great suits, and I'd go watch him play and go, oh my gosh. Well, anyway, I got a job with him toward the end, and I think because of him, I actually moved to Nashville. I don't know if I hadn't played with him, I'd done that, because he was very encouraging, and we talked about it, and I said, man, I had a great job like everybody else. I said, I'm just going to throw my life in the toilet and quit my job that had health insurance, dental insurance, and retirement. I'm going to throw all that in the toilet, and I'm going to move to Nashville. And anyway, he was very encouraging about that. Anyway, so here we go. Good morning, Fast Eddie. What a wonderful weekend we had this weekend, huh?
It was great.
We had a big old show this weekend. For those of you who are not here, if you missed William Lee Golden and the Goldens, it was quite the show. They were amazing. Chris's son and his daughter are in the show. They're both just beautiful children and very talented. Elijah's just a singing fool, and Elizabeth plays violin and sings real good. Everybody was great, and I got a chance to get back up and play with those guys. And what happened to me, Fast Eddie, is what I find happening. I think Gary knows me as an old roughneck up there. I used to hang out in the beer joints, and I wasn't afraid to knuckle it out with a few guys. I've been in a few scrapes in my life in the parking lots, but I'm getting to be a softie. So they get me up there to play, and I hadn't played with those guys in like 15 years, probably, maybe that amount of time. And I've been everywhere. We went to Australia, Germany, Jamaica. I went all over the world with those guys. And anyway, but two of the guys that were my best buddies are no longer in the band, had passed away, Skip Mitchell and Don Breland. And Don Breland was one of my dear, dear friends. So we get up there and start playing. Of course, first time I played that song with these guys in 15 years, and those two guys aren't here, and I'm like getting big old, crybaby that I am. But it was awesome.
Yeah. It was so much fun watching you.
Isn't William Lee 85 years old and dancing around like some like crazy man. You know, he was awesome.
He had more energy than the kids.
Yeah, he was running around. They told me he does 250 sit-ups every day.
Unbelievable.
Every day. When was the last time you did 250 sit-ups?
82.
Yeah. When was the last time you did a sit-up? 82?
92.
92. I did one in 92. Awesome. Hey, I got to tell you something, folks. We have these, you've all seen them, these Dunkin' Donuts iced coffees that everybody's drinking. We have them in the back. I put one in the microwave this morning. It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I may have a new drink here. So.
Wow.
Anyway, let's get moving along. As we always talk about, Eddie, what's your? You have an album of the day.
Yeah, the album of the day, of course, is my all-time favorite show here at the Opry. It was like the Kentucky Headhunters. They were so much fun, and I had never seen a drum set like that gentleman in that. But they were amazing. This is a really rare album. They didn't put a lot of albums together. They were a CD era band.
By then the albums had
yeah, this one was really hard to find.
All right, so you want the history on those boys?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know I'm a history buff. Okay, so let's see. Fred Young is the drummer that you're talking about. And when I first met Fred Young, it was in Paso Robles, California, at the Paso Robles Fair. Fred was playing with a girl we all know by the name of Sylvia. He was Sylvia's drummer. He looked nothing like that. He had really, really short hair, cut off sideburns, and wore a suit. Looked real preppy. That was him. Doug Phelps, the guy who is now the lead singer, Ricky and Doug were brothers. Ricky was the lead singer on all those records, but Doug is now. Doug Phelps and I used to play softball together in Nashville. We were and played softball for many years. And Doug and Greg, the other guitar player, were Ronnie McDowell's band. So for years they were running around, and they were just guys, you know, like everybody else. They were in somebody else's band, and then they kept trying to get enough recognition. A friend of mine named Mike Bradley made all their records, and I always credit Mike Bradley for changing the sound of country music. He, if you go back and start listening to records made in the early '90s by Mike, which would be all of Brooks and Dunn's records, their records, Leroy Parnell's records, made a bunch of them. He really changed the sound of the drums. He kind of, for years before that, drums were kind of an afterthought in the back of the records, and he really brought the drums to the forefront in the mix. So just next time you listen to a Brooks and Dunn record, listen to the drums, and then go back and listen to some record made in the 60s or 70s. And
that probably had a lot to do with a bunch of old classic rockers like me switching over into them in Alabama. Had a lot to do with bringing a lot of people over to country music because pop music was getting really bad.
Yeah, well, pop music's always been bad.
The Brother Phelps did a CD after this. I have the CD somewhere in my collection of that. Both of those brothers doing an album.
And you know that I can't remember the name of that song. Too. But you know that song is the only song in history that starts in one key and ends in the same key and never changes. You ever listen to that?
Yeah, I don't know what song you're talking about, but the CD was great. I remember the CD.
Yeah, that was their record. I don't know what it was. We played a song this weekend with the Goldens called Hillbilly Highway, and it's an old Steve Earle song, and it's all in one chord except for right at the end. It puts a quick 4 chord in there and goes right back to the 1. But anyway, yeah, they were awesome folks. Of course, here's another little plethora of information. So that record came out in what, 90s? I think that came out in 90 something. I can't remember if you can see it on there. But anyway, so just back up 40 years into the Grand Ole Opry, they didn't even allow drums on the stage. So there was they were outlawed in country music. So when guys started bringing drums in, electric guitars were not allowed on the Orange Blossom or the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. So it took a long time to get those folks acclimated to as the music was changing. And Eddie, can you tell us the first guy to put his drummer on stage, to put drums on the stage? Going once? Anybody?
No.
Ernest Tubb.
Wow.
So yeah, Ernest Tubb had a record out that was his first, not his first, but his number 1 record. And he had the first record in the United States that every country music radio station played. Every radio station played Ernest Tubb's record, Walking the Floor Over You, and it had drums on it. And so when he went to play the Grand Ole Opry, they said, well, we don't allow drums. And he said, yeah, watch this. So he was the first guy to have put drums on the Orange Blossom Opry. And then they didn't want him to have a whole set. It was just a drum. but eventually he got his way. I know a bunch of stuff. I'm a plethora of useless information. The first guy to put horns on the Grand Ole Opry, Eddie, going once.
No idea.
Marty Robbins. All right, enough of that. Good morning to our audience here. If you have any questions, let me know. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things coming up at the Orange Blossom Opry. This weekend, my friend Rhonda Vinson will be here. And she is awesome. That's not this weekend. That's next weekend. She won't be here this weekend. If you come this weekend, she won't be here. I don't have any friends coming this weekend. This weekend we have a tribute to Bob Seger, and they're awesome. These guys were here last year, and they're actually from Canada, and they're all Canadians, eh? And they have 2 shows on Saturday. There might be a few tickets left for that. I don't know, but I saw that it was getting pretty close to sold out. Twitty and Lynn, they will be here on Sunday, and they are, of course, the grandson and granddaughter of Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn. So that's what you call being born with a gig. So you don't have to go get a job. You just go out and play their music, which is awesome because people want to hear their music.
Oh, yeah.
And so you go out and play your granddaddy's music. And I told you last week, I'm Indian, so if I went out and played my granddaddy's music, it'd be boom, 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 boom. People wouldn't like that too well. Anyway, they'll be here, and that will be an awesome show. Our Friday Night Live, I have to tell you this, folks, just as a little brag. Friday Night Live is a thing we do here. In the busy season, we do it once a month. And we have one coming up on the 23rd of February, which is this Friday. And I get to see the ticket sales. And it has either sold more than or equally as much as any other show here at the Orange Blossom Opry. It's sold like ridiculous amounts of tickets. So we're excited about that. And the one the following month in February, it is February. Now, the one in March is also sold out, and I think April's headed that way. So our little band, you have no idea how much we appreciate supporting not only the Orange Blossom Opry, but our silly little band. We've gone through some band changes. We've gone through tremendous band changes. You know, Dougie and I are the only guys left for the old regime.
But I must say, 2 regulars that have come in here for quite a long time at the Opry, have told me this past week, and they came up and said, "Can you believe how this band is playing?" And I said, so it's kind of inspired me to come in tomorrow night and kind of like add some more pizzazz to the night for Friday Night Live.
Yeah, you're gonna wake up there?
Yeah, I'm inspired now.
Eddie
it
sits
takes
up in
a lot. At this time in the morning, it's hard for me to get inspired. But
well, he sits up in the light booth, smokes cigarettes, and drinks Jack Daniels all the time.
There's gonna be some smoke Friday night.
Oh,
coming
boy.
from the booth.
Gonna light up. Well, you know, the thing that happens later on in the show, y'all, we're gonna have Roger Beyers on the show, but I attribute a lot of that to him and Heather because when the band changed, one guy retired, he just retired. Another guy left kind of on his own, and the other guy just unexpectedly left. We'll just leave it at that. But then I'm stuck with, we had a really good band. So it wasn't like a bunch of chumps up there. They had really, it was a really good band. So I have to replace these guys, and there's just not that caliber of players around here. This is not a hot spot for musicians. Or that can play at the level that I need them to play. One of the most important things about that band is, I say this, you have to be able to read music. If you can't read Nashville number charts, you can't be in that band because we learn so many songs and have to learn so many songs. If you can't read, you can't, and a lot of guys say, well, I can learn, or, well, I kind of can, out. So that's the thing, you got to find that. And so anyway, where I was going was Roger and Heather were kind enough to, I said, listen, I'm gonna have to, go out of town here and find some players. And, these people have to move here. They're gonna have to change their life. They're gonna have to move here for the Orange Blossom Opry, and this is gonna have to be their baby. So, and that's not just everybody's bag. So it took a while, but I believe we've hit it out of the park. Because I got some of the best players that I can't believe. I'm lucky enough to be playing with some of these guys. So it's really stepped up a couple of notches, and we're excited about that. And again, I thank the folks that allowed me to do that. We have some great shows coming up in March. I want to talk to you a little bit about. In March, we do have Rhonda Vinson. I talked to her yesterday. I have to advance dates, so on Mondays I call all the people and have to find out how many people are coming. Do you have anybody with peanut allergies, food? How many people are going to eat? You know, do you guys need the pins? What do you all need? Everything. This band, Bob Seger's band, is coming. I never understood this, Eddie. I'm not complaining. I just never understood this. These guys are coming. They don't bring their guitars. And we have tons of guitars here. We have awesome guitars. We have a guitar store here that you can choose from, amps. But I've never gone to a gig. Germany, Korea, all the places I played, Japan, everywhere I played, I never went without my guitar.
Yeah.
I'd go and wear the same clothes every day before I'd go without my guitar. I can't take any more clothes. But anyway, they're coming. And when I talked to Rhonda Vincent, I said, just tell her that we have a restraining order against her. Yeah. So she's a hoot. She'll be here on next Saturday. Riders in the Sky will be here on March 1st, y'all. And they're a favorite here at the Orange Blossom Opry. And you should come out and check these guys out. They're kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of comedy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
You know, they're very, very funny.
They're hilarious.
Yeah, and
really pros.
And they've been around a long, long time. I tell this story, but when I moved to Nashville in 1978, I used to go see them on Wednesday night at a place called Wind in the Willows, and they were playing. This is long before.
Now that we have the piano up here, I could probably start a rumor that maybe their number one fan could come up and do a little piano solo with them. You know, Roger Beyers is like their number one fan.
Would that be you?
No, Roger Beyers is their number one fan.
Oh, well, he's
this guy. He could probably do a little piano solo while they're.
Well, he's the only guy.
Roger's guy.
He's the only guy that could get away with that.
Yeah.
Because he's the only guy that can't get fired. Anybody else tries that?
But they're great. They're really great.
Might be your last day if anybody else tries that. But he's probably pretty safe, being he signs the check. So he and Heather can pretty much get away with whatever they want, as far as that goes. But let's see. Oh, there's some of the guys from the Goldens checking in right now, saying what a wonderful time, and tell everybody we had a great time. And I got up and played guitar. I actually got lucky, Eddie. I hit a couple of pretty good licks.
Oh, you nailed it. And Rusty blew my mind. I met Chris before. I'd never seen Rusty. I mean, I had his records, had the CD they did together. But his piano playing, man, he was fun to watch. He was just really, like you said, he's a character.
Yep. Some guy came up in the audience, and I was busy. And if you hear this podcast, I'm apologizing. I was so busy. He came up right here and said, "You produced my first CD that I ever did, and Rusty played on it." And I was in the midst of stuff. I wanted to talk to him, and I don't even remember. But anyway, I said thank you. I was nice to say that, but I was busy trying to get stuff going. I don't know, but Rusty and I used to play on a lot of records together. So we worked together. Anyway, Riders in the Sky on Friday. Check those guys out because they play cowboy music, and they're awesome. Woody's a great fiddle player, and they're all awesome. And I probably should have told the boss, or Lori, when I talked to them, for some reason, which I never asked, but they wanted to ship the accordion here. So anyway, for the folks in the office, an accordion may be around. I never asked them why, but I just said, sure, you're welcome to do that. They will be here. And then Brass Transit's on March 3rd, and that show, I think, there's two shows that day. I think that show's just about sold out. That's a tribute to Chicago, if you guys know the music of Chicago. Were you a Chicago fan, Eddie? Not the ball team, but the music.
Yeah, not a big fan, but I'm a fan of them. Yeah, but they are really, really good.
But you liked all the stuff.
Yeah. They were,
Yeah, you like devil music.
I'm really not a horn guy. No, yeah.
No, you were devil.
I like real rock.
Just say it.
Yeah,
right.
no, they're good. No, Chicago, the hits they had, there's just so many of them. They had some rockin' stuff. They had a really, really good rock guitarist, and he passed with the original Chicago.
Yeah, they're a great band.
Oh, so, Brass Transit's amazing.
So these guys will be good if you're good with that. And then the Three Redneck Tenors show, that's on the 8th, and those guys are all comedy show, and they're kind of cool. They've been here before. Here's somebody that's coming they may have been here before, but they were not here since I've been here, and that's Little Texas.
Yeah.
And the band Little Texas. Excuse me. We'll be here on the 9th, on March 9th with two shows. God Bless Texas and all of that stuff. So that'll be fun. Another band. I like when bands come because I'm kind of a band guy. So like that. Williams and Ree On the 10th, the comedy of the Indian and the white guy. You all know who Williams and Rhea are? Anybody? You do?
They're
You
the
don't?
best.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're funny guys. And one day, I just bought this new house in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and I'm out in the yard doing something. This Rolls Royce pulls in, and I go, "What the hell?" And Terry, the Indian, gets out and said, "Hi, I'm your neighbor." So I lived next door to him for years, and we're still really close friends. Great guy. They'll be here, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, y'all. That's big. That's kind of getting in the big.
That's in my bit. Yeah, that's my realm right there. Boy.
Right,
We're talking
right.
rock and blues.
Drugs, alcohol,
You know-
the devil, all that stuff you're into, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's Eddie's music, y'all. Yeah, that's what he is. No, the Fabulous Thunderbirds are great, man. They're
yeah.
a blues band, and they're awesome. 17th of March could be one of my favorite shows for many reasons. One, nobody's probably a bigger Brooks and Dunn fan than I am. I was friends with the guy that put them together. Interesting story behind Brooks and Dunn. They didn't even know each other. And one guy's trying to get a record deal, and the other guy's trying to get a record deal. And the head of a label named Tim Dubois at Arista Records said, "Hey, I got this idea for a duo." And they're going, "What?" You know, because they're both, "I'm an artist." And he said, "Well, neither one of y'all are doing worth a damn by yourself, but why don't you do this?" Well, one guy was a pretty successful songwriter already, Kix Brooks. He'd written songs for a lot of people. So he knew that they could, and he said, "Why don't you two guys get together and go write a couple songs and come back and play me something. And if you guys have something, you know, we'll talk about a record deal as a duo, Brooks and Dunn." So that's how that all started. They came back, and the first song they played them was "I Saw," that played Brand New Man and Neon Moon and a bunch of those hits. And they went, "Oh my gosh." So they signed them. So I'm a big Brooks and Dunn fan. I love their music. I knew the guy that made all their records. I just couldn't get enough of that music. It's great. Every one of their songs are great. Well, we, of course, cannot afford Brooks and Dunn because I think they're, just to get them, they're $250,000 a night. Eddie, do you know that?
No, I believe it.
Just to get them to show up, 250 smackers. So we have the next best thing that just only costs $2. I've got a buddy that believe it or not, from Knoxville, Tennessee, I've known forever and got a big, long story there, who sounds like Ronnie Dunn. He just does. You know how some guys sound like other people when they sing? He's just got that gift. He sounds like Ronnie Dunn, and he can really sing. So we got together here a couple years ago and started doing this Brooks and Dunn show here at the Opry, and it sells out every year. We do 2 shows. He's coming on the 17th of March. And that's a show you all really need to check out because the band learns the songs just like the record. You close your eyes, you think you're listening to Brooks and Dunn because it's real, which is, I guess that's what the tribute bands do, don't they?
Yeah. I think the new guys in the band are going to be really surprised at how good Kenny is. Well, they've got a little touch of him, but...
Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah,
I
this
think
guy, he's sickening talent. Yes,
we
sir.
could actually get Brooks and Dunn here, but the tickets would be $500 a piece.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. So yeah, if you guys want Brooks and Dunn, let us know. Here's what we do to get Brooks and Dunn. Where's Roger? We pre-sale the place first at like $1,000 a seat and sell it out, and then tell them we don't know the date yet. And then when you get all the money from everybody, because that's $500,000 there, and then we call up the Brooks and Dunn and say, "Listen, we got the money. Just show up," and then we could have a big time. Maybe that works. I know Kix Brooks pretty well. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Let's see, the Malpass Brothers, they're coming on the 22nd. If y'all haven't seen them, they're amazing. They're really funny, and they play all this old country stuff like Hank Thompson music and stuff, and they're awesome as well. I've not seen this before, is the Bee Gees. We have a Bee Gees tribute show now. If they do all the Bee Gees music, I'll love that. I'll stay for the first part because I love all that first stuff.
Yeah, early stuff.
And Barry actually didn't sing lead on some of that. Did you know that?
No, Robin did a lot of it.
Robin
Yeah,
sang
he didn't get the credit for it.
Massachusetts and all of that big records with
Yeah.
Robin singing.
Yeah.
And then Barry took,
was a kind of a shock. They harmonized real well, even as children. But when Barry all of a sudden started sneaking in there and then took over.
well, let's just call it what it is. Now, Barry was so handsome, was he not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not into guys.
Yeah,
or anything,
yeah,
but
no,
that dude was one of those guys you looked at that looked like Elvis. or look like one of those handsome guys I can't stand.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just beautiful, man. And the other two, not so much.
And he had that thing that Kenny Rogers and Lee Greenwood had that. And the ladies went nuts.
Well, they went nuts when he walked out there. His shirt was unbuttoned down further than any man should wear his
That
shirt
was the
unbuttoned.
70s, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got all that going on and the stuff and the gold and his smile and he had big, remember he had big old hair, and he'd get up there and so that's why he started singing, because if people didn't give a damn about the other two. They looked like two fence posts up there with a hat on, but Robin sang all those big hits, and I loved all that stuff, all that early Bee Gees stuff. So if they do that first, I'll be here. Once they break into that, when they started singing in falsetto.
If the keyboard was working, I could kick into maybe a Love Is So Right.
Yeah, that'd be a good reason for me to kick into alcohol in my coffee. Because when they started singing falsetto, staying alive, that right there will make a guy that plays fiddle, such as myself, want to kill himself and his whole family. So just take out the AR and just take everybody out. I probably won't say for. I was not a fan of that music, but many people were.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that those shows are probably sold out too already. So I'll stick around when they do the early stuff. When they break into the stuff, watch that door back there, Eddie, because I'll be bolting.
He's out of here.
Right out. That's on the 23rd, y'all. Then our big gospel show on the 29th, and we have a very special guest. Carmen here is going to come sing with us. She's a singer that sings with. I got it right there. I can't think of the name of it. Roger, what's the name of that band? She sings with it. Comes here.
Buzzcats.
Buzzcats. Yeah, and she's going to come sing here for us on our gospel show on the 29th of March. And she's awesome. Chris will take the controls of that. I know 2 gospel songs. Although I did know a couple of gospel songs that Golden sang.
Yeah, the Goldens.
All that Southern gospel stuff, I know all of that stuff. But when you get into the new stuff, I didn't know that. And I was raised Catholic. So you ever go, anybody Catholic? Yeah, you ever go singing in the Catholic church? It's 2 notes. Everybody going to sing amen. Amen. It's terrible.
I'm going to get letters on this.
I don't care. I went to Catholic.
Paul, can you mute him?
I went to Catholic school. I have a reason to be angry. So, and the music was horrible. So the one thing about the Southern gospel stuff, man, it was good. You know, they put rock and roll into the stuff. So anyway, our gospel show's on the 29th. Let's Hang On's here on the 30th, everybody. That show will probably be a sellout. They always come here. They are awesome. They're just really good. Kind of do the music of Frankie Valli and all that. Lots of things to look at as far as our show goes. Many things going on. You have any questions in the audience? Because I'm going to try to get, Gary. Yeah, I guess he'll get you a microphone. Mike's our microphone guy. Get right on it there so we know. Yeah.
A week or so ago, you talked about hot spots, hot bars, watering holes down here in the South, where bands go and play, and later on they get noticed or picked up, and they become recording artists.
Yeah.
Why does that not happen up north? They just don't have watering holes, or is it just a difference in the dynamic?
Too cold.
A lot. Yeah, too cold. You know, and you and I grew up in a town that when I was a kid, and even when I got out of the Army in, 73, I guess, and I started a little band up there, and there were a lot of places to play. In our little town, and it was kind of in mid-Michigan, and there was 4 or 5 bars, different bars that you could play, and live music back then was still kicking. You know, they'd be packed out. Our little band, part of that band went on to be Sawyer Brown. My idea was to move the whole band to Nashville and try to start it, and I couldn't get one guy to go, didn't want to go. Dave Petrosky, as you know, was killed in a car accident, but Jim Skolton, who was in the band, did go, and he and I ended up, you know, making Sawyer Brown happen. But there was, I don't know if people just still look at country music as being from the South, being more that. I don't know the answer to that. You know, there was a hot spot somewhat for more rock music because, as you know, Ted Nugent came out of Ann Arbor, and Bob Seger came out of there. Bob Seger, when I was a kid, when you were a kid, used to play at this bar in Flint called the Micatan. So he came out of that school. Nugent played around there with this band called the Amboy Dukes, and then went on to be his own. And of course, Glenn Fry was from Michigan too. So there, and what was the other band? The Michigan band. I'm sorry, folks. I have this thing called running nose. Excuse me. Grand Funk Railroad was there. So a lot of rock bands kind of came out of Michigan, but not so much country music people. So I don't know if they look for country music people in the South and rock people in the North. I don't know the answer to that, but there were some local guys that were pretty good. I need to get my boss to wake up here and come up here, and we'll chat with him for a little while, and and talk about and nowadays, Gary, you know, people, that doesn't happen as much anymore because of shows like The Voice and American Idol and all that. Record companies now, if you get on American Idol and you don't win, say you place 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and you don't win, still millions of people have seen you on television. So already, let's just say 1 million people know who you are. Your name's John Doe, and I know several cases like this. So record companies will go grab that guy and say, well, look, there's 50 million people already know who you are. We'll put a record out on you, throw out this record, and if you sell 50 million or if you sell 1 million, they win. And I think that's taken away from the artistry of the people, because most of those people on American Idol, most of those people in on The Voice and all of that thing, they're not the true artist people. They're not the people that sit there and grind it out, live in your car and write songs and move to Nashville, and they don't have Willie Nelson stories. They have hardship stories, but nothing to do mostly with music, which is also why I think music is what it is. I'm not a big fan of hardly any of the music. There we go. Trey, hey, there we go. Hold on a second. Speaking of people, all right. I've been trying to get a hold of Trey from to advance her date with no luck, and that's him. My boss and the owner of the Orange Blossom Opry is sitting here. Everybody make welcome Roger Beyers, everybody. Man who gave me a chance, man. You know, I never knew. I guess I kind of heard about the Orange Blossom Opry. You know, my mom and dad played here a long, long time ago when it was more of a local thing, and they both played here, and I'd heard of that. But I came down here as a sub, and next thing you know, here we are.
Yep, Bobby came down and he subbed plate steel for us.
Yeah,
plate
played steel, yeah.
And while Doug was taking care of some obligations back in Iowa, had no intentions when Bobby first came to ask him to stay, but like a bad penny, he just showed
I can
up
be
and
like that.
wouldn't go away, and
I won't go away.
the rest is history. We actually had, I think, more of a same vision of what this place could become, and I think because of that, we do that. I try to get out of Bobby's way. I don't suggest too much. I only had a couple of criteria I asked to Bobby about the band. I said, I love harmonies.
Yeah.
So if we can ever get to the point where all band members can sing, I would be really happy. Guess what? We have that now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, everybody sings.
so I'm expecting more harmonies out of our band now.
Well, I'll tell you, when I came here to the Orange Blossom Opry, I guess I've been here about 5 years. I would see nights that pretty thin out there. I would say that, pretty thin. And since the first of the year, I think this place has been, if it hasn't been sold out every night that we've been here since the first of the year, it's been right close to it.
Yeah, it has, and you know we do the Star Series from January through April. We know we're not done. We take advantage of the snowbirds that are down here in Florida and people looking for something to do. So we definitely are a spot on their radar to go visit. I'm amazed this year more than any other year when you ask how many new people have been here for the first time.
Yeah.
How many new people they're finding us and that are exposed to what we have to offer in the Opry and the shows, and you know that's wonderful to me, because for a long time, perhaps still feel that way, we were the best kept secret in Central Florida.
Well, I think like the Grand Ole Opry started, and its outreach was radio, and places like the Capitol Music Hall, which was in Wheeling, West Virginia, where they had the West Virginia Hayride, the Renfro Valley, all of those places, their popularity increased due to radio. And we don't do that, but I think Facebook has opened up a big world for us and lots of people.
Facebook, our presence on Facebook is phenomenal. Heather, my wife, manages that, puts up all the posts that go out there on that, and that has just grown exponentially. And I think because of that, we're up to 33,000 followers, and I think when she took that over, we were maybe 18,000. I'm not sure what the number was, but it was significantly less. And she's only been taking that over the last 2 years.
Yep, that's awesome.
So
So if we got 33,000 people out there, I'm thinking maybe Brooks and Dunn in the parking lot.
put more people in. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You touched on this lightly. We have this contest going on, and I believe we're in the middle of week 7, 8, week 7, something like that. And it's an awesome, I'm sorry, pardon me, y'all. It's an awesome chance for people to get up and play with the band. They pick out 2 songs, and they come here on Thursday nights, and all the audience, everyone in the audience gets to vote on who you think is the winner. And so at week 7, I got to tell you, and all of us guys in the band, we can't really have a dog in the hunt. It's, we can't. I'd like to talk to some of those people, but I can't and don't. And but there are a couple guys in there that I think that are pretty promising. And last year seemed to be a lot of girls. This year maybe a lot of guys. But that Ty Love guy and Jake, or is it Jake Reynolds? Is that him? Those are 2 young guys that are probably 17 years old that really stood up. And for me, I read music through the whole time, so I don't even pay attention really. I'm trying to read the music. And if I look up to notice a person, it's either they're really bad and they're off key and they're out in the woods, or they're really good. And both those guys are going to be kind of interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, they are, but remember, we got 40 more people yet to come through.
Yeah.
So,
and, there was a girl that came through this week too, a young girl that won that was came out of nowhere. That was really good.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I can't remember her name.
We've got, Neil was just telling me, we got somebody whose parents or grandparents live in the Villages, and she's going to fly in from Denver.
Really?
And be on one of our shows. So, again, the outreach that people know about the Opry and have watched it and are aware of it. And I think it's all for the thrill of being able to cut a record with Bobby Randall.
I don't think that. But you didn't explain to him, Denver, that's just right outside of Tampa, right? It's Denver, Florida. That's not true. Well, the winner is I don't think of it as anything because all these guys are my buddies and I've been doing this a long, long time. But for somebody to get a chance, to record with our band, I say this, which I didn't say before, but man, this band, every one of these guys have got credentials, like amazing credentials, and all of them can bring the goods. So when we get them all together in the studio and recording something, it'll end up being something awesome. Of course, with Nathan at the helm, it'll make he can save us all. He makes us all sound good. Here's the lineup this weekend. I know Greg Lewis. I've seen him here before. Reginald Stacy will be here in Reagan Hall. A couple of people that I don't know this weekend. So every Thursday we have 10 people, and they all do 2 songs. And so far there hasn't really been anybody that's been horrible. Everybody's been really good.
Yeah,
it's
been good to great, and we do ask that they send in tapes to Neil, and he gets an opportunity to kind of review it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Some people have fudged and maybe sent in tapes that they did 25 years ago. But for the most part, everybody we've had on stage has been good to very, very good to great.
I might bring that same subject up with promotional pictures. When I look at promotional pictures and go, man, that's awesome. And then when they get here, I go, hey, wait. How long ago did you take this?
It's for those that don't know or are unfamiliar with me. I have not owned the Opry, my wife and I, but for 10 years. In fact, it's 10 years this month. And prior to that, my heritage business has been in funeral business, and our family business has been operating since 1920. So that's 104 years, locally owned, family owned funeral service.
Yeah,
So-
amazing.
So
Amazing.
that's, and what triggered that was you talking about pictures, and I'll just say this as just a feather note of, we ask people to provide a picture to go along with their obituary from their families, and so often they bring in their high school prom picture. Yeah. And they're 97.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
while it works, it doesn't really resemble who they were.
John Doe, 97 of Weirsdale, passed away, and you go, what the hell? That's his graduation picture. That's amazing. There's my quick joke is that Roger does own the funeral home, and which is a good place for me to start with my career, because I'm in the final parts of my career. Let me ask you a couple things though. When you bought this place, did you see potential? I mean, because it'd been here a while before you all, right?
Yeah, it had been through several ownerships. The lady that owned it when I bought it was Estelle Wages. Estelle used to run restaurants locally. I'm local, obviously, 104 years in the area. Our family is, and I knew Estelle from when she had restaurants, and had not really known that she had bought this. She and her husband. She has a story. She bought it and went home and told her husband, who knew nothing about anything, that I just bought the Orange Blossom Opry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he was thrilled with that. But they ran it for several years, and I got involved. I love live music, and that's one of the things that I challenge us when we bring music in. We've only been surprised a couple of times when I thought we were booking a live music band, and they ended up using canned music. That doesn't happen often. And if I know about it ahead of time, it won't happen at all.
Right.
Live music is what I'm about. That's what I love. And again, reaching back on my funeral service experience, great funerals are usually surrounded with some really great live music.
Correct.
And, I grew up loving music. I was in a high school band that never went anywhere and won't. But
Well, you and Heather are I mean, the funeral service, of course, is something that's a necessity and awesome for the community. Actually, Roger, I think you all own 5 funeral homes, so there's quite a few of them there. But the Orange Blossom Opry, your wife, our boss, my boss Heather, she works her tail off here, and you guys, I mean, I know you see it in the seats, and because the place is packed all the time, but I don't know, and I hope you guys hear, you and Heather hear some of the remarks that I do of just about the, happiness and the good stuff that you bring. And everybody that comes in here, walks in this door, everybody has a handful of problems and issues and whatever that life deals with them, and they come in here, and hopefully that all goes away, and that's something that, you guys are bringing to the community here. Because there's no other place like the Orange Blossom Opry around here, or in the country, really. There's just a few places that are like this.
Heather comes from kind of a musical background, a little bit. Her dad and her brother did radio in Louisiana, and really, I think she tells a story where she, as just a kid, would go with her dad sometimes and kind of just be there on the side, and he'd be doing a radio show or doing disc jockeys music as well. But quite a history there of what they do and keeping some of the Cajun type music alive as well. So she knows far more about the acts we bring in and the players, the individual names of people like you do than I do. I was a guy that always enjoyed the music, and I couldn't always name the band who sang it. Loved the music, could sing the songs, but she can. She knows a lot of the people.
Okay, so bad question now. A headache. Any business, whether you run a lemonade stand or whether you run Chevrolet, is a headache. So is the funeral home business more of a headache, or because I know what this place is. I'm involved in all this stuff here. You know, you got 6 guys in a band that are all just bat-you-know-what crazy, and they're running around. This place is loud, and people are yelling, all good, but just, you know, noisy, and the funeral home's all real quiet and soft and reserved. This place is like a zoo. Which one's the bigger headache?
It is a yin and yang thing. I would say this is a bigger headache.
I could be a headache.
And,
yeah,
and
I've
I
been
only
told that.
and I only say that, but I've got, including my part-time staff on the funeral home side, I've probably got 75 employees.
Yeah.
And so I've surrounded myself with some really good people there that have been seasoned. They've been there a long time. I'm not always in the middle of having to deal with issues or problems, though I am. Here, there's not too many layers of management that you go through that, you know, doesn't need my or Heather's or your involvement.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the 3 of us make a lot of the decisions. And again, I'll go back to say, you know, I book the acts. We do have a talent buyer that we take advantage of up in Nashville. He helps us find them and coordinate the scheduling. Bobby does the advance on those, and you know, I get every contract and read every word, and you know, it's the old adage: you go to the last page and work your way forward.
Right.
That's usually where you find the problems, is on the last page. So I've gotten very good at reading contracts. They're all similar, but all different, and every once in a while we get surprised for needing some backline information that we got to go out and rent that we didn't quite realize was going to be needed, but.
Pretty close. So now I think, you know, we have, I tell those people when they ask, well, you know, we got to have this and we got to have that. And some people aren't familiar with the Orange Blossom Opry. And I just say, look, you don't know what, just shut up. Just come here, because it's like a music store. You can have just about anything you want. We have just all kinds of things for these guys. So which again is a perk that a lot of places do not have. You know, you can't go to the Grand Ole Opry without your own gear. You just can't.
Really?
Well, they have a house band and they play, and you can go out there and play. But in your guitar, you can go out there, but you can't show up and tell them you have to play their drums. You have to use their stuff too. So
Well, I always felt
a lot
it
of
very,
similarities.
always felt it very important to have a good backline.
Oh yeah.
And when you see something repeatedly that you got to go out and rent, that stops. I go out and buy it, and
Yeah.
we make it part of our backline. So,
Well,
after 10 years, we've gotten pretty close to not having to buy or go rent much.
Yeah, I think, and the main thing from the business point is all of these people, because I was on the other side for a long time, and I played some places that you don't even want to know about, and had some issues, you know, promoters that skip out, and bars that you wouldn't, and your wife wouldn't even go in. And so to come to the Orange Blossom Opry like this, pretty much everybody that comes here, I think we treat everybody the same, whether you're Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers Band, or whether you're somebody's grandkid, or whether you're just somebody coming like Kenny Evans, who's just guys. You know, we treat everybody the same, and everybody that leaves here, I can't think of one person that's left this place that's been disgruntled or disappointed or PO'd, if you know what that means. You know, everybody that comes here goes, my gosh, it was awesome. The hospitality, the people, right from everybody, right from top to bottom. Food, we have a chef, you know, Roger and Heather got this, we have a chef that works back there that will do just about anything for you. You know, I ask all the acts coming in if there's, you know, if they have allergies or something, they have vegans or vegetarians, you know. I said, well, do you have something that, you know, you don't want? So I don't want, if you don't want this, and if you want something, let me know. I'll tell him, and he's liable to make it. So you can eat yourself right into oblivion here.
The story I love to hear and to tell is that a buddy of mine come up to me and say, hey, I heard you on XM Sirius Radio. I said, you did? Really? He said, yeah, it was on Willie's Roadhouse show. And,
Yeah.
and I said, that was great. What were they talking? He says, all they did was talk about how great the food was.
Yeah.
And I'll take that. You know, that's one of the reasons we want to separate ourselves from, you know, the rubber chicken circuit.
Yeah.
And having a chef on board knows that, and that reputation has gotten out there. They talk about it.
There was this place in Georgia for years called Lanier Land, and it was, they called them the Shed. And what it was seats like this, and but the sides were all open. And it was probably 1,000-seat place or something. But these ladies all made dinner, like similar to what we have. And everybody in the circuit back then, and when I was touring Merle Haggard, all the guys, that's what they talked about. So, and that place is not there anymore. So, and this has taken on the similarities of a lot of places like that because, you know, Larry Gatlin comes and they say, hey, I want this, you know, because it was great last time. And people start, when they were here last time, the food was good, and they say, oh, we don't care about anything else. Just make sure you have
we
that
get a
chicken.
lot of repeat requests.
Yeah, right, for the
so-
food.
And
It's,
that's a
pretty-
good thing.
Pretty amazing.
I do have one person here, though, I really have a problem with.
Aside from me.
No, and it's because he goes out and he acquires things, and he doesn't tell me, and he ends up putting them on the stage, and he doesn't tell me, and he's
Over there.
he's constantly tweaking and doing stuff with lights. You're hiding behind your album cover.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about you. So
Did I mention we're going to do some things this week for
Yeah, I
the
might
Friday
want
Night Live?
to. I might want to tell you, Roger. He was bragging earlier about because we have a sold-out show this Friday, and it'll be, as George Trillinger would say, it'll be a big show, and so Lord knows what happened. But I've seen a couple times that Eddie smoked the damn stage up so much that I can't find the mic.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Sometimes
I
the
got to
finger
sing,
sticks.
and I'm going, man, I got to get my way through there, and
Fast Eddie has an addiction, and it's all about lighting.
oh, I think it.
Oh, no, I got more than that.
You know what?
Yeah, here.
Airballs.
And his album.
Here's a guy, if you want me to compare him to somebody that you want to know who I think of when I think of Eddie, is, let me think of his character. I know his real name, but his character name was Dr. Emmett Brown. Do you know who Dr. Emmett Brown was? Dr. Emmett Brown was the guy in Back to the Future. That was Marty's sidekick. His name, what is his name, Eddie? He was Jim. He played Jim on Taxi when he was on
I
Taxi.
don't know. I know what you mean, though.
But in that movie, he's a gadget guy, and he messes with everything. And if you ever seen Back to the Future, and that's Eddie. He's always tinkering with something. Got this.
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, thank you. That's his name. And he's always messing with something. And so every time I come up here, a couple times I've had to say, Eddie, you
Yeah.
can't put that there because that's where my guitar goes.
That's right.
So he's had to move it.
Who needs a guitar?
Yeah, you don't need a guitar. We can do this thing without the guitar. We just need more lights.
That's right.
Well, Roger, we will say this on. I told you this yesterday. I'm not. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old days. Gary's from my hometown. I don't want him to go back and tell all my hometown buddies I've turned into a wimp. Because I told you, in my day, I was a scrapping old boy out those honky tonks. But the Orange Blossom Opry, to me, and somebody must have misunderstood I put a thing on Facebook yesterday that said in the final chapter of my career, which I meant, I'm 71 years old. I doubt I'll be here till I can't be here anymore. Then I didn't mean that I'm done retiring, but some people must have took it that. But anyway, one of the greatest things for me about this is this all plays into me because all of these guys that we bring in here, the era of the people that we can afford, and it's all about seats. We don't want to charge you people $500 or $1,000 for a ticket. You have to keep the ticket price is adjusted to what the act costs. And a lot of times, I don't know if the people understand this or not, but a lot of times we have to do 2 shows because you can't make any money because of what it's cost for the act. So it works out pretty good, those guys. And I thank a lot of those guys for keeping their price where we can afford them. But so all of that, all the acts that come here are most of the guys that I've worked with in my lifetime. And the greatest thing for me is all these guys that I've worked with for years and years and years all come through the backstage door here. And I get to spend all day. The day before yesterday was like a day, just awesome. The Goldens were here.
I did have to put security on
Yeah.
the bus to be sure he didn't load up and go back to Nashville.
I was just headed there.
Roger said, hey, you ain't getting on that bus going back to Nashville, are you? And I said, no, I've done been everywhere on
that-
that bus that I needed to be. And
That was as happy as I've seen Bobby smile from the stage with a different band on stage was Sunday with the Goldens. He was glad to be up there, and they were glad to have him up there.
yeah, it was fun. Those guys, like I said, we played in different variations of bands together. Not Roger, Rusty and I, one time, we were in Australia, and the chain of events were unbelievable with this guy that went with us. He got into so much trouble that you couldn't believe what all the stuff. I couldn't make it up. I could write a book. I can't tell you about all the stuff. It's nothing really bad, but it was bad. He, lost his passport, got robbed, and just by doing stuff he shouldn't be doing. And Rusty's looking at me, and we're going, how are we going to get home? Because the head guy that owned it, we were all on a private jet playing over there. By the way, there was this kid that opened for us that was pretty good and had some potential. His name was Keith or Urban. Anyway, we've had lots of fun together and lots of stories to tell and lots of laughs. So we sat backstage. Hey, remember when this and remember that? And yep, spent a lot of that going on. So anyway, what do you see in the future? By the way, folks, you're sitting in brand new seats that Roger put in here this summer on the break. We take the whole month of July off, and I worked my tail off that whole time that we're off. So, I get on a motorcycle the day after we close, and I come flying back in here on two wheels the day we open. So I'm usually gone the entire month. But
you disappear, COVID doesn't matter. You get sick, doesn't matter. You're gonna be on your Harley somewhere.
yeah, I'll be sick or out there. Doesn't matter where I am.
The rest of us are back here suffering, trying to get the floor in and seats in, and
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, he did that brand new floor out there this year and brand new seats and I mean I think a lot of people can see the improvements of this place over the years.
Every summer we take on a project, and we've really only got like 3 weeks. I've got a super contractor guy that just works 6 days a week, 14-hour days,
Yeah.
and do whatever has to be done to get it done by the time we reopen 3 weeks later. And it's amazing what you can do when you have a plan and want to do it. This summer, I think the plan is we will level the stage, which is something Bobby's been asking for.
Yeah,
for some time.
get the stage all one height.
Get one height, and then.
But that's not, as I've looked at it a little bit, now I don't know much about that stuff. It's not as easy as you think. Because I said, well, hell, just tear that down and do this and that. But then Sam, who's the guy you're talking about, who's awesome, who does a lot of work around here, was explaining to me there's a lot of stuff that goes to it. And another thing I didn't realize is I don't know if restricted is the right word, but restricted to what you can do because of the building being a historic building and being, what's with that?
It's more about, two things. One is we can't go any higher than the level we're on right now. If we do, we got to put up a railing, and that would not work for people to get the visuals to see on stage. So everything will be this level where we're sitting. The other is, this is an old brick building, and brick is probably one of the worst buildings to retrofit or to make something happen. So we're going to have to, the two entries we got coming in from the back, we're going to have to lower, and we're going to have to chip that brick out, because I'm not about to use a power saw in here. We'd have brick dust everywhere.
Eddie, though, I've seen Eddie run a sledgehammer.
Yeah. So Eddie, we'll put Eddie on a sledgehammer. And
He'll have me. I'll be watched very closely.
You could be in Colorado with me.
Yeah, I wish.
So that's the plan. Whether we haven't finalized that, but just like these chairs, I wasn't going to do these chairs this past summer, but we were running out of spare parts to fix the old chairs, so we moved it up, and I'm glad we did. It was
Well, I
needed.
think the audience, I've heard nothing but compliments from the audience that they can see that you're putting, that you care about the place and that you're putting money back into it, things that help them. For those of you, I don't know, when I first came here, that lobby, I can't remember if that lobby was green or orange, but I remember when I went in there, I went, holy, what the?
It was both bright green and orange.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty.
And that was my plan. I actually painted that when I first bought it, because it was awful before that. I figured Orange Blossom Opry, those are our colors.
There goes
Not
my,
so much.
There goes my Christmas bonus.
My wife Heather hated it, so that.
Well,
it-
that's
it did
right.
get
And when I
changed.
found out she hated it, I thought, man, I got it. There's my in right there. So I worked on her for a while. But they all, she was in charge of the whole thing. That lobby is awesome. It's just unbelievable out there what it looks like, and that says a lot. Person comes in here, you really feel kind of homey and kind of cool out there. They got a snack bar and all kinds of stuff out there, and the thing. I mean, just tons and tons of improvements to the Orange Blossom Opry. So
Merch store as well. down
Oh, yeah.
Sell merchandise that we did.
you got a little store up there. You can buy stuff, and you can buy all kinds of things. And it's just like I said. It's just I think the audience, the people that come here, appreciate that because they see that you're putting stuff back in for them. So. I look for 2024, which I'll tell you, we played in January 8 more days than we did last January. In February, I think 6 more days. So probably 2025 we'll just work every day, just be 5 days a week. We'll just go at it. It won't bother me. I'll be good.
Bobby never says no. I'm not. The rest of the staff and the band, not so much.
Yeah, I'm kind of a workaholic. Remember what the line is? Don't let the old man in.
Hey, Bobby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bobby, we're about at that time.
Yep. Oh, so you have anything to say about that? Because I know I was going out. Captain Kirk?
No, he,
Heather wants to know if there's anybody in the audience who has any questions.
Yeah, any questions? Quick questions? Because we're heading to the house. Going once, going twice? Yes,
one.
ma'am.
When do the tickets go on sale for May and June?
That's a Roger question.
actually pretty quick.
For
Probably-
Friday Night Live?
Probably the announcement, well, everything in May and June will be available. But we had to secure the contracts. There was one or two laggards on contracts. I couldn't move forward until I had those, and we have those now. So I would expect this week we will announce the on sale date, and maybe be as early as the first or middle part of next week.
Will that be for Friday Night Live too?
Yes.
Yeah, honey, get those Friday Night Live tickets, baby. That's right. Hey, we got to run, everybody. Once again, a big round of applause for Roger Beyers here. I'm Bobby Randall, the Orange Blossom Social. God bless you all. See you all next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you all.